I'm not really too terribly big on posting anything, but I've recently gotten into these tea spills. I gotta point out Reagan Wolf. She had an interesting video in which she was breaking down the body language of James Charles and I am Gage from the whole clusterfuck of whatever that was. And I had managed to get in a single comment before, rather unexpectedly, the comments were um, blocked, were disallowed. And another thing I found really interesting was that the live streams that were showing the rise and fall of James Charles versus Tati were suddenly removed from YouTube, or they just completely froze. So that tells me either James Charles is involved in it or James Charles is involved in it. I mean, it's not too hard to tell the difference, right? But the thing with Reagan Wolf that I'm actually rather curious of is that if you watch her video, it actually is very biased. It's very one-sided. I'm going to definitely point that out. She really breaks down and deconstructs I Am Gage's video, but glazes over James's video and doesn't even actually, like, point out that in that same video, James Charles actually admits that he preys on heterosexual men and that he has a fetish of trying to convert heterosexual men into homosexual or bisexuality. So that's something that I was able to actually kind of point out before these comments were disabled. And I'm not sure if James Charles was the reason for these comments to be disabled, or if the fact that Reagan Wolf is obviously trying to spin that narrative into James Charles's favor, and the fact that so many comments were against James Charles kind of worked against her in what she was trying to do in the entire process of her video. So, and I'm just going to repeat exactly what I said on those comments because you can't even see those comments anymore. But basically, in my comment that I, pointed out was that people who are unsure of their sexuality or are unsure of what they want in their lives, they tend to experiment. And the way that I deconstructed Gage's video was that, yeah, he is withholding information. But what kind of information is he withholding? Is he withholding... Sorry, I'm burping. I'm actually really drunk right now. Is he withholding information that he actually lied to James Charles, which doesn't come across at all in the DMs that were released by T-Spill or any of the other videos that jumped on this controversy, but rather is it that he is withholding information because he's ashamed of what went on? As someone who personally identifies as asexual, y'all can fuck off with that, but as someone who identifies as asexual, I did definitely go and try to experiment with my sexuality. I went and I was having relationships with men and women because I didn't know if maybe I just didn't try it. Maybe I need to go and try it before I can determine what I like, which is absolute bullshit because I dated men and women in my life and I can't stand fucking either of y'all. But what I'm saying is that when I was in those relationships, I tried to make it work. You try. You're like, maybe I'm not feeling something, maybe I need to kiss this person, maybe I need to act the part, maybe I need to put more of myself out there so that those feelings come, because maybe I am like this and I have to try to tap into that feeling. Maybe I'm just behind walls and I have to work my way into being essentially normal. Whether it was heterosexual, bisexual, homosexual, it didn't matter. I just felt that I had to work harder to be normal. And it's very, very possible that I Am Gage felt that he had to try harder to make that connection with James Charles, and it just never came. And good on him for realizing basically right after he gave it a shot that, this isn't working out. I'm not feeling anything. The sparks just aren't there. I don't think this is who I am. Good on him. I mean, I'm not saying that he did everything right. Definitely not. But I'm not pro Gage, but I'm definitely anti James Charles. Because James Charles knows what the fuck he's doing. He knows what he wants and he knows what he's going to do to get it. He is preying, he is predatory among heterosexual. I'm sorry, I'm so drunk right now. He is preying upon heterosexual men because he doesn't actually love them. He doesn't actually even like them because you see this behavior in other people, regardless of sexuality, where they just want the conquest. When a woman tells a man, hey, I'm a virgin, and that guy is suddenly all into her, it's not because he loves her. It's because he wants to fuck her. He wants to be that guy that got that woman. He wants to put his name on it. And that's exactly what James Charles is. James Charles is that guy who wants to turn a straight man gay so that he can put his fucking name on it. That's fucked up. He is absolutely fucked up. And all those little 12 and 13-year-olds need to get the fuck out of the conversation. And I'm going to keep that right where that is. But essentially, when it comes down to it, James Charles is a predator. People say that that's too strong a word. No, it fucking isn't. He's a manipulator, he's an abuser, and he's a fucking predator. End of story.